Now that we've memorized or mostly memorized our unit circle, anybody else not have these notes yet? 1, 2. Yes. Now that we have memorized our unit circle, this is a very typical exam question, usually worth 3 marks on a final exam. Basically, what they're asking you to do is, from your unit circle, what is this number equal to, what is this one equal to, and what is this one equal to? And then we're going to need to multiply them all together. Sometimes these questions have adding, sometimes they have multiplying. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just draw a line here so that I can do some work off to the side, because we need to put numbers in for each of these. So for secant 11 pi over 3, because that's a reciprocal, I'm going to try and figure out cos of 11 pi over 3. First of all, I know that my reference angle is pi over 3. And since I've memorized that cos of pi over 3 is a half, I know that cos of 11 pi over 3 is going to be a half as well. I just have to determine whether it's going to be positive or negative. Now, 11 pi over 3 is equal to 3 2/3 pi. If you think about your unit circle, 3 pi is going to end on your negative x-axis, right? 1 pi, 2 pi, 3 pi, and then 2/3 is more than half. This is going to end in quadrant 4. Is cos positive or negative in quadrant 4? Positive. So now, because I know the quadrant, because I know the reference angle, I can say that cos of 11 pi over 3 is 1/2. In this first bracket, for secant 11 pi over 3, I can write 2 over 1. Second one, probably don't even need to show any work off to the side. Okay, part of the pi over 4 family. What quadrant would it be in? Five pi over 4 is in quadrant 3, but if we go negative 5 pi over 4, we would have to think about going 3 quadrants in the negative direction, and that would end in quadrant 2. Is cos positive or negative in quadrant 2? Negative. So we could write negative root 2 over 2. (23 pi over 6). 23 pi over 6 is equal to 3 5/6 pi. So again, if you go 3 to the negative x-axis, 5/6 is more than half. It's going to end in quadrant 4. Tan is negative in quadrant 4. And tan of pi over 6 is root 3 over 3. Multiplying all this together, root 2 times root 3 is root 6. These 2's would simplify, and we would get positive root 6 over 3. So do you remember in 6.1 and 6.3, I skipped a couple of questions and said we would do them after the unit circle. So we're going to do those right now. I know that you still have some more notes left in this package. We're going to finish those up tomorrow. So if we go to 6.1, example 2, which is on page 471. Yeah, page 471. We had skipped 2a. In 2a, it said determine the exact values for negative 420 degrees. Well, negative 420 degrees would be going all the way around 360 plus 60 more. So you would know that your reference angle is 60 degrees. And since 60 degrees is on our pie plate, we know what sine of negative 420 degrees is, cos of negative 420 degrees is, and tan of negative 420 degrees right from our pie plate. 60 degrees, your pi over 3 family. Sine was root 3 over 2. Because it's in quadrant 4, it's negative. Cos is 1/2, your x coordinate. Because it's in quadrant 4, it's positive. And tan was a square root of 3. Because it's in quadrant 4, it's negative. And then once we have each of those, we can do the 3 reciprocal functions as well. Cosecant, secant, and cotangent. If we know the ratio for sine, the ratio for cosecant will just be the reciprocal. If we know the ratio for cos, the ratio for secant will just be the reciprocal. And same thing for tan. So you can now do 7a and number 6.